Hey, what is up guys, Shieldfeed here, back bringing you another Borderlands 3 video. Now, as you can see in the title, I have collected over 110 legendary weapons so far, 112 to be exact. And there will be definitely more in the future that I'm going to showcase to you on this channel. I will put them in alphabetical order in these videos, so it will be easier for you guys to find a specific weapon you are looking for in the future. What you are seeing on screen right now are the builds that I was using with each character while showcasing the weapons on a spoiler-free area. But keep in mind, some of these weapons can only be obtained towards the end of the storyline, so there will be some minor spoilers, but I'm keeping it as spoiler free as possible. I will also not use the Iron Bear on Moze and just barely use the Sentinel for Zane, because I wanted to focus on the weapons only. For the sake of this video not being too long, I won't be diving too deep into what's behind the red text or the mechanics. If you want me to do so, I already have a video for the Maggie on every character that you may like and that I could do a lot more from. I also have to cut them into multiple parts. I'm planning to do 5 parts, but we will see how it goes. I have recorded the footage of each weapon already, so you won't have to wait too long for a video. And before I start with this video, I wanted to say a few words about the time and effort I put into this. Since YouTube isn't my full-time job, this video took a lot of work for me. It was still a lot of fun though, don't get me wrong. Farming in Borderlands is a big reason for why I love these games, but I would appreciate if you could just leave a like on this video and subscribe if you don't want to miss out on the future parts. It would mean the world to me. But enough from me now, let's jump right into the video. Now let's start with the number 1 of 112 and the number 1 of 20 for this video, which is the 9V with the prefix shocking, and I believe this will always be the same for everybody, as well as the element, which is shock, and the fire mode, which is burst fire only. This legendary Dahl SMG can only drop from the side mission boss enemy called Kill-O-the-Wisp, so to get this weapon you have to kill him right here in Lektra City. If you want to farm him, you must kill him, collect your mission reward, kill him again, save and crit, and you will spawn right in front of the arena. This weapon's red text says contact, and it shoots multiple shock projectiles in a V-shaped form, which makes you want to use it more like a shotgun up close, and it is pretty good for deleting enemies' shields, but that's it basically. The next weapon on this list is probably just a better version of the 9V, the AAA. This style pistol also always comes in shock element, hence its prefix will always be shocking, and it also comes in burst fire mode only, just like the 9V. The red text on it says "hold on, they are lithium", and is a direct reference to a scene from The Office about lithium batteries. Now, even though this weapon has a slightly slower fire rate than the 9V, it has significantly higher damage, which is instantly noticeable while it's playing. But instead of firing its projectiles in a V-like shape, the AAA of course fires A's. You can get this weapon from any lootable source in the game, so just pray for RNGesus to drop it for you if you want this weapon.
This is all too easy.
Just like the AAA, the legendary Torque assault rifle called the Alchemist is also a world drop and can drop from any lootable source in the game. The name and the red text "you can't gain something without giving something in return" is a reference to the anime Full Metal Alchemist, and is probably also the reason why the gun itself is fully covered in metal. What it does is it shoots sticky fire projectiles that blow up upon reloading and does massive damage on bosses with big critical hit spots. But where the red text and the reference comes in is that with every shot you lose a small portion of your shield or health, which is similar to the things happening in the anime. You should watch it, it's a good anime. The weapon itself is pretty bad for general mobbing though, as you can see in the footage.
Get over here, dickweed!
If I think about it, the ASMD was definitely one of my least favorite legendary weapons I tested. Oh my god, was this thing bad, or maybe I just suck, I don't know. The red text says, "You planning a follow-up?" and the name ASMD is a reference to the ASMD weapon from the Unreal video game series. This sniper rifle seems to always come with the prefix expert and shock element only, even though this is a Mali 1 weapon. Instead of switching between two elements, it switches between an energy bolt and a slow energy orb, but it is pretty much unusable against anything but shields. This weapon is ASSS.
Perishable by design! About time we had some action!
With the next weapon comes the first of many returning legendary weapons from Borderlands 2, the TDO pistol Babymaker ++, and in my case it is the Unlimited Babymaker ++. This gave me a plus 45% weapon damage and a times 1.5 weapon zoom optic, but in your case this prefix may change. This time around the Babymaker literally makes 4 little baby guns that keep on shooting and home in on your enemies before exploding on impact and doing a lot of damage. It also talks to you from time to time and makes a weird and deep noise when shooting it that I can't really describe. It was a lot of fun to use, although with almost every TDO weapon its damage output mainly comes from your reload, so make sure to look out for your ammo count.
That's just what I do.
Another TDO pistol is coming up next with the name Bangarang XL. This weapon is one of 2 boomerang-like weapons in the game, the other being the returning Gunerang from Borderlands 2, which I will cover later on in this series. The Bangarang is literally thrown like a boomerang upon reloading, where your character launches it towards the right side of where you are aiming at, which makes it hard to control sometimes what target you want to focus on. After throwing it, the pistol keeps on shooting while spinning, and after a while of flying around, it seeks out the closest targets to explode on impact, even if the closest target to it is you. This is probably where the red text "To die would be a great adventure" comes in, which is a quote from Peter Pan in the movie Hook, where also the name Bangarang is from. And just like the Babymaker ++, this weapon can drop from any lootable source in the game. Sorry I forgot to mention that. The next weapon is a legendary Dahl assault rifle, and it's a weapon I don't really see anything special with its mechanics, to be honest. I'm talking about the Barrage, and in my case it's the precise Barrage, whereas the prefix of this weapon can change whenever you get one from any lootable source in the game. I think what makes this weapon special is the name and red text Quick Maths itself, since I believe it is a reference to the skill from Roland in Borderlands 1 that is also called Barrage. This skill lets Roland's turret fire 1 round more per burst the more skill points you invested. I haven't noticed anything similar happening to the Barrage in Borderlands 3 though, but this weapon is still a lot of fun to use. It comes with burst fire mode only and has a fast fire rate and almost 0 downtime in between bursts, and also can come with every element in the game. Now, what used to be one of the worst pearlescent weapons in Borderlands 2 also seems to be one of the worst legendary weapons in Borderlands 3. Of course, I am talking about the Bearcat. And in my case, it is the cocky Bearcat, and to be honest, it has no reason to be cocky at all. What's interesting about this weapon though is that apparently Bearcats smell like buttered popcorn. Granted, it is in my opinion not quite as bad as it was in Borderlands 2, but it takes just way too much time for the grenades to hit the targets. It shoots a 2-shot burst of 6 grenades in total, lined up horizontally, and they bounce off of every object they hit along the way. You can decrease the spread of the grenades by aiming down sights, but they still don't do as much damage as they should in my opinion. Also, targets a few feet above your head are just as safe as you hitting the subscribe button from my channel. Like, right now. The weapon can come from any lootable source in the game with every element, but you're better off just leaving it there. The next weapon on this list is the bitch, and is also returning from Borderlands 2, but you may get another bitch than I did. Am I even allowed to say that? I don't know. Anyway, the red text says, if you can't handle me at my worst, and you never know what you get with the bitch, as this weapon can come with every element from any lootable source in the game. What you do know you will always get is the melee accessory coming with it, and I even managed to get an anointed version of it, which is just great alongside the plus 82% in critical hit damage. As with every Hyperion weapon in Borderlands 3, the bitch gets more accurate the longer you fire, and with this weapon you don't have to wait long until you have pretty much no recoil at all for easy consecutive critical hits. This weapon was one of my favorite weapons in Borderlands 2 and still is in Borderlands 3. It's just so much fun to use. Number 10 on this legendary weapons list is the torque shotgun called the boring gun. And in my case it is the double penetrating boring gun, but in your case this prefix may change. It can come with all elements from any lootable source in the game and has the red text "This is beyond science" on it. Even though it may not be the best weapon in the game, it is far from being boring. It shoots 3 saw blades that will roll forward from where you shoot it, unless you have a double penetrating version of it. In that case it will shoot 6 instead of 3 saw blades. The weapon has an increased splash radius and is like the Bearcat, not good for any enemies above you. It is awesome for dealing with the enforcers though, as the saw blades travel right beneath their shields, making them pretty much useless.
That's just what I do.
Next up is the legendary Hyperion shotgun that has probably one of my favorite weapon designs in the game, the Brainstormer. I believe the weapon only comes as the cash infused version and is always a shock weapon. I'm not quite sure what the red text "Let's put our heads together" may be a reference to, so let me know down in the comment section if you have any idea. What it does mean for the weapon mechanics though is that it chains lightning to the closest enemies to the target you shoot at, which is pretty awesome in my opinion. It also comes with the shield attached to the weapon and gets more accurate the longer you fire, like every Hyperion weapon. But it has a pretty high initial recoil you need to control. You can get this weapon from any lootable source in the game, and if you do, it is a lot of fun to use. At the number 12 spot, we have another cool looking weapon with the Breath of the Dying, which is a legendary Dahl assault rifle. The weapon will always come with the corrosive element and can drop from any lootable source in the game, and I will not even try to pronounce the red text, but what I can tell you is that this is a reference to, I believe, a rune in Diablo 2. I have never played any Diablo game, so forgive me every Diablo fan. You have a right to be upset with me right now if I said anything wrong. Kills with this weapon will make them explode and spread corrosive balls in every direction. It switches between full auto and burst fire, but has a pretty long downtime in between the bursts, so I'd recommend the full auto mode. The weapon is quite fun to use, but I did not feel anything too special while using it, to be honest. Coming up next, and I'm already running out of ideas for introducing a new weapon, is the Hyperion shotgun called the Butcher. It has the red text fresh meat on it, and it refers to a boss in the very first Diablo game. The Butcher has been a pearlescent weapon in Borderlands 2, and I loved using it with every character, but especially on Salvador, and now I love using it with most. The reason for that is that it can feel like hours can pass by until you have to reload. The weapon has a special feature where it has a chance to return a random amount of ammo to your magazine for every shot. Combine that with some skills from Mo's and you can fire this thing almost infinitely before having to reload. In my case it is the subsidized Butcher, but this prefix can change as well as the element it comes with. It can drop from any lootable source in the game and is an awesome weapon you definitely want to get. One of I believe only 2 Atlas legendary weapons I could collect was the assault rifle called Carrier, so I either got unlucky with my drops or Atlas needs some more love from Reese for more unique and rare weapons in the future. For me it is the over encumbered optimized Carrier, but the prefix of this weapon can change for you and I believe it cannot come with any elements when it drops you from any lootable source in the game. The weapon's design and name alongside its red text "I have arrived" is a reference to the Carrier ship from StarCraft 2. The weapon has a tracker Puck as an alternate fire mode that you can attach to a target. If you switch over to your smart bullets, they will always land on that tracker Puck, no matter how far your aim is off. What's special for this weapon compared to the other Atlas weapon is that the bullets that hit on an enemy after the Puck is attached will ricochet towards other targets. It doesn't do a lot of damage though, and the Puck travels super slow as well, so I did not particularly like this weapon. Cloud Kill. This weapon will always hold a special place in my heart. Cloud Kill used to be a skill from Maya back in Borderlands 2, which was pretty OP after a buff from a patch when using it early game, where enemies you would hit would instantly melt in a corrosive cloud. Maya used to be my favorite playable Vault Hunter in Borderlands 2, and now in Borderlands 3, this skill turned into a weapon, and you can get this from Maya's apprentice after a main mission, where you will have the option to speak to her in Sanctuary, so make sure to look out for that. It comes with the red text, "Now you will rise." You'll get what this means when playing through the story. You will always get this weapon with corrosive element, and every time it applies a status effect on an enemy, it will spawn a corrosive cloud around them that damages every enemy inside.
My chili recipe dies with me!
With the next weapon finally comes some flag gameplay for all of you flag mains out there, but don't worry, there will be plenty more in the upcoming videos. The companion is a legendary Jacob's revolver that will always come with the fire element and can drop from any lootable source in the game. The red text "You can't take the sky from me" is probably a reference to a World of Warcraft mission with the same name, where I believe you have to fly with your companion to a certain location. I don't know why it is incendiary only though. A comment down below if you have an idea about this would be very much appreciated. This revolver has a super high fire rate and ignites the enemy with every critical hit guaranteed instead of ricocheting a bullet to another target like the other Jacob's weapons do. It was a lot of fun to use, so definitely try it out if you get one. Ah yes, the legendary Hyperion conference call. This weapon used to be the most OP weapon back in Borderlands 2, combined with the B-shield before the nerfs. This time around it is not quite as fun to use and definitely not as powerful as it once was, but still fun. I only have a regular conference call, but in your case you can get one with every element and a different prefix from any lootable source in the game. It fires 5 bullets per shot that all create additional projectiles when either striking an enemy, a surface, or after a certain distance. It's hard to explain, but just watch the gameplay and you'll see what I mean. It's probably better suited for larger enemies, for the multiple projectiles to hit and deal more damage, but even though it has a relatively slow fire rate, it's still viable for general mobbing.
Ooh, gimme.
For the next one, the Hyperion Crossroad SMG, I have no idea what the red text "opened the gate for me" could possibly be a reference to. Maybe just something meant in general, but again, if you do know, write a comment down below and let everybody know. This weapon can come with all elements from every lootable source in the game, so even though mine is a cash infused crossroad, yours may be different. The weapon shoots in bursts of what seems to be like 4 bullets each burst, while consuming only 2 of them as ammo, and this thing is awesome. I loved every minute playing with it. It does a lot of damage and is super easy to use for close to mid range. Not much more to say than to get this weapon and try it out. The legendary Cutsman is another Mali 1 SMG on this list that can come with every element and also from any lootable source in the game. The red text on it says "Little Android Man, born without a soul," and they are some of the lyrics from the song Cutsman by Horse the Band. It seems to always have a melee attachment on it with a plus 60% melee damage bonus, which could make it viable for melee builds, but this gun is also pretty good when just shooting it. Even though the projectiles that stretch horizontally as they move forward are pretty slow, they deal a lot of damage when they hit, especially to larger enemies in the game. It's also pretty satisfying to see them stretch after you shoot it.
Enjoy.
Last but not least for part 1 of this legendary weapon series is the Vladov assault rifle, just called Damned. And this is also a weapon that can come with every element and from every lootable source in the game. The red text on it says, well, IB, and is probably supposed to finish with Damned. This could be a reference to the gold trophy you get upon beating a boss in the latest Devil May Cry, but I'm not sure about that. What makes this weapon special is that it has a Hyperion shield attached to the weapon when you aim down your sights that will reflect incoming bullets that hit the shield back to the attackers. Even though I hate the iron sights I got on this weapon, the design is pretty cool and very reminiscent of an AK-47, but other than that, it seems to be pretty weak against enemies even without mayhem mode activated. Yeah guys, that was part 1 of this series. Make sure to check out my video I made for the Maggie. It's pretty much a showcase of the weapon on every character. And let me know in the comment section if you want me to do more of these. Like I said, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. That way you won't miss out on any of the future parts and more Borderlands 3 content coming in the future. With that being said, I see you guys in my next video.